Imagine walking down the street on a normal day. You stop by a convenience store, pick up a drink, hand over a crumpled bill, and the cashier gives you back some loose change. You don't think twice about it, you just shove the coins in your pocket like you've done 1,000 times before. But what if I told you that tucked inside that handful of change could be a single coin, so rare, so mysterious, that it could transform your entire life overnight? 1 penny. A Lincoln penny from 2018. A coin most people would glance at for a fraction of a second before tossing it in a jar or dropping it into the couch cushions. But this penny, this unassuming little copper-colored piece of metal, has been making waves in the coin-collecting world because its market value has been whispered, speculated, and now confirmed at an eye-watering $9.9 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin worth less than a cent on paper is valued higher than some of the most luxurious cars, higher than some houses, higher even than the lifetime earnings of many people. Now here's the thing, this isn't a myth. This isn't an urban legend that gets passed around coin forums. This penny is real, it's in circulation, and right now it could be hiding in someone's wallet, purse, or piggy bank without them even knowing it. The story of this 2018 Lincoln penny is nothing short of astonishing. And if you're watching this video right now, you might want to check your pockets immediately because by the time this story is done, you might be looking at every coin you own in an entirely different way. To understand why this coin is so valuable, we have to go back to the very basics of coin collecting. You see, not every coin is created equal. Some are printed in massive quantities, millions upon millions of copies spilling out of the US Mint every year. These are the everyday coins we're used to. But every once in a while, something goes wrong, or maybe, something goes mysteriously right. Maybe the minting machines misfire, maybe a special batch gets produced, maybe a material or a die is altered ever so slightly. And when that happens, you get coins that are different from the rest. These oddities, these mistakes, these special one-offs, they're what collectors crave. The 2018 Lincoln penny is a prime example. On the surface, it looks ordinary. It's got the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, the same coppery shine. But experts discovered a microdetail, an anomaly so subtle that the average person wouldn't even notice it without a magnifying glass. That anomaly turned out to be the spark that lit the fire. Because once collectors realized how scarce this detail was, they knew instantly that this coin wasn't just rare, it was priceless. Fast forward a few years, and the legend began to grow. Whispers started floating around coin shows, online auctions, and numismatic circles. Someone reportedly found one in their change at a grocery store and sold it quietly to a private collector for millions. Another story surfaced of a penny being authenticated and valued at nearly $10 million, shattering previous records for modern coins. Suddenly, everyone was on the hunt. Every jar of coins, every roll of pennies from the bank, every handful of change from a gas station became a potential goldmine. And that's what makes this story so thrilling. You could literally become rich overnight with just one lucky discovery. Think about that for a second. Most people dream of winning the lottery, a 1 in a million chance that takes a ticket and pure luck. But here we're talking about a coin that could already be sitting in your home. A coin you might have overlooked 100 times before. Imagine the moment when you realize the penny you've had in your wallet is not just worth 1 cent, not just worth a few dollars, but worth $9.9 million. That's generational wealth. That's college paid for. That's debt erased. That's financial freedom from a single coin. Now, let's talk about value. Why $9.9 million? Why not a smaller figure? The answer lies in the simple economics of rarity. Supply and demand. There are billions of pennies in circulation, but if only a microscopic handful carry this anomaly, then their value skyrockets. Collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums for the chance to own what no one else can. The 2018 Lincoln penny has now entered the realm of legendary coins, standing side by side with the 1943 copper penny and the 1909 SVDB cent, coins that have fetched millions at auctions. But even among those, this 2018 edition is a modern marvel because it's not a coin from 100 years ago, it's from our time, it's from your pocket, and it could be within arm's reach right now. The sheer idea of this has turned regular people into coin hunters. Families dig through old jars of coins. Children ask to check their parents' change. Collectors stand in line at banks to request rolls upon rolls of pennies, hoping lightning strikes. And once in a blue moon, someone actually finds one. Stories circulate of shocked individuals discovering this tiny piece of fortune. The reactions are always the same: disbelief, excitement, tears of joy. Because how else do you react when you realize your life has changed forever because of something you nearly spent on a gumball? Let's paint the picture. Imagine someone cashing in their piggy bank at the grocery store Coinstar. They pour out years of saved pennies and nickels. The machine spits out a receipt, and they walk away, never knowing that inside that pile of coins was a $9.9 million penny. Or picture a cashier, stressed during a long shift, tossing change into a drawer, completely unaware that the drawer just became the most valuable cash register in history. The scenarios are endless, and that's what makes this story so captivating. It could happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time, and let's not forget the ripple effect. Every time a story surfaces of one of these pennies being sold for millions, more people start searching. The value gets reinforced. Collectors get more competitive. Auctions get more heated. And the market demand pushes the price higher and higher. Right now, the highest confirmed valuation sits at $9.9 million, but who's to say that in the next decade, this figure won't climb even higher? What if the next sale pushes it over 10 million? What if in 20 years, it becomes the single most valuable penny in history? This isn't just about coins. This is about the thrill of discovery, the idea that the extraordinary hides within the ordinary. It's about hope, luck, and the wild, unpredictable nature of life. Because at the end of the day, this story proves that you don't need a winning lottery ticket, you don't need to strike oil, you don't need to invent the next big tech gadget. Sometimes, the key to fortune is sitting in your pocket, waiting patiently to be noticed. So the next time you get change back at a store, the next time you dump coins into a jar, the next time you think about tossing a penny aside because it's just a penny, remember this story. Remember that one coin, one 2018 Lincoln penny, could hold the power to rewrite your entire future. And who knows, maybe right now, as you're watching this video, that penny is already in your possession. Check your coins. Search carefully. Because the road to $9.9 million might just begin with a single cent. Imagine walking down the street on a normal day. You stop by a convenience store, pick up a drink, hand over a crumpled bill, and the cashier gives you back some loose change. You don't think twice about it, you just shove the coins in your pocket like you've done 1,000 times before. But what if I told you that tucked inside that handful of change could be a single coin, so rare, so mysterious, that it could transform your entire life overnight? One penny. A Lincoln penny from 2018. A coin most people would glance at for a fraction of a second before tossing it in a jar or dropping it into the couch cushions. But this penny, this unassuming little copper-colored piece of metal, has been making waves in the coin collecting world because its market value has been whispered, speculated, and now confirmed at an eye-watering $9.9 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin worth less than a cent on paper is valued higher than some of the most luxurious cars, higher than some houses, higher even than the lifetime earnings of many people. Now here's the thing, this isn't a myth. This isn't an urban legend that gets passed around coin forums. This penny is real, it's in circulation, and right now it could be hiding in someone's wallet, purse, or piggy bank without them even knowing it. The story of this 2018 Lincoln penny is nothing short of astonishing. And if you're watching this video right now, you might want to check your pockets immediately because by the time this story is done, you might be looking at every coin you own in an entirely different way. To understand why this coin is so valuable, we have to go back to the very basics of coin collecting. You see, not every coin is created equal. Some are printed in massive quantities, millions upon millions of copies spilling out of the US Mint every year. These are the everyday coins we're used to. But every once in a while, something goes wrong, or maybe, something goes mysteriously right. Maybe the minting machines misfire, maybe a special batch gets produced, maybe a material or a die is altered ever so slightly. And when that happens, you get coins that are different from the rest. These oddities, these mistakes, these special one-offs, they're what collectors crave. The 2018 Lincoln penny is a prime example. On the surface, it looks ordinary. It's got the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, the same coppery shine. But experts discovered a micro-detail, an anomaly so subtle that the average person wouldn't even notice it without a magnifying glass. That anomaly turned out to be the spark that lit the fire. Because once collectors realized how scarce this detail was, they knew instantly that this coin wasn't just rare, it was priceless. Fast forward a few years, and the legend began to grow. Whispers started floating around coin shows, online auctions, and numismatic circles. Someone reportedly found one in their change at a grocery store and sold it quietly to a private collector for millions. Another story surfaced of a penny being authenticated and valued at nearly $10 million, shattering previous records for modern coins. Suddenly, everyone was on the hunt. Every jar of coins, every roll of pennies from the bank, every handful of change from a gas station became a potential goldmine. And that's what makes this story so thrilling. You could literally become rich overnight with just one lucky discovery. Think about that for a second. Most people dream of winning the lottery, a 1 in a million chance that takes a ticket and pure luck. But here we're talking about a coin that could already be sitting in your home. A coin you might have overlooked 100 times before. Imagine the moment when you realize the penny you've had in your wallet is not just worth 1 cent, not just worth a few dollars, but worth $9.9 million. That's generational wealth. That's college paid for. That's debt erased. That's financial freedom from a single coin. Now, let's talk about value. Why $9.9 million? Why not a smaller figure? The answer lies in the simple economics of rarity. Supply and demand. There are billions of pennies in circulation, but if only a microscopic handful carry this anomaly, then their value skyrockets. Collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums for the chance to own what no one else can. The 2018 Lincoln penny has now entered the realm of legendary coins, standing side by side with the 1943 copper penny and the 1909 SVDB cent, coins that have fetched millions at auctions. But even among those, this 2018 edition is a modern marvel because it's not a coin from 100 years ago, it's from our time, it's from your pocket, and it could be within arm's reach right now. The sheer idea of this has turned regular people into coin hunters. Families dig through old jars of coins. Children ask to check their parents' change. Collectors stand in line at banks to request rolls upon rolls of pennies, hoping lightning strikes. And once in a blue moon, someone actually finds one. Stories circulate of shocked individuals discovering this tiny piece of fortune. The reactions are always the same: disbelief, excitement, tears of joy. Because how else do you react when you realize your life has changed forever because of something you nearly spent on a gumball? Let's paint the picture. Imagine someone cashing in their piggy bank at the grocery store Coinstar. They pour out years of saved pennies and nickels. The machine spits out a receipt, and they walk away, never knowing that inside that pile of coins was a $9.9 million penny. Or picture a cashier, stressed during a long shift, tossing change into a drawer, completely unaware that the drawer just became the most valuable cash register in history. The scenarios are endless, and that's what makes this story so captivating. It could happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time, and let's not forget the ripple effect. Every time a story surfaces of one of these pennies being sold for millions, more people start searching. The value gets reinforced. Collectors get more competitive. Auctions get more heated. And the market demand pushes the price higher and higher. Right now, the highest confirmed valuation sits at $9.9 million, but who's to say that in the next decade, this figure won't climb even higher? What if the next sale pushes it over 10 million? What if in 20 years, it becomes the single most valuable penny in history? This isn't just about coins. This is about the thrill of discovery, the idea that the extraordinary hides within the ordinary. It's about hope, luck, and the wild, unpredictable nature of life. Because at the end of the day, this story proves that you don't need a winning lottery ticket, you don't need to strike oil, you don't need to invent the next big tech gadget. Sometimes, the key to fortune is sitting in your pocket, waiting patiently to be noticed. So the next time you get change back at a store, the next time you dump coins into a jar, the next time you think about tossing a penny aside because it's just a penny, remember this story. Remember that one coin, one 2018 Lincoln penny, could hold the power to rewrite your entire future. And who knows, maybe right now, as you're watching this video, that penny is already in your possession. Check your coins. Search carefully. Because the road to $9.9 million might just begin with a single cent. Imagine this. You're digging through your change jar, maybe paying for a cup of coffee, or counting coins from your car's cup holder, and suddenly, you realize that little copper penny in your hand is worth more than a luxury mansion. Sounds insane, right? But in today's story, we're diving into the unbelievable tale of the 2018 Lucky Lincoln penny, a single cent that has shaken the coin-collecting world with a jaw-dropping value of $6.9 million. That's right, a coin you could find in circulation today could make you rich overnight. Now, before we reveal why this penny is so rare and valuable, let's rewind for a moment. The Lincoln cent is one of the longest-running coin series in United States history. First minted in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, this humble 1-cent piece has seen countless design changes, composition shifts, and yes, even some of the most incredible minting errors in American numismatic history. Collectors across the globe are obsessed with Lincoln pennies. Why? Because time and time again, they've produced some of the rarest and most expensive coins in the world. From the famous 1943 copper penny worth over $1 million, to the 1955 double die era that can fetch tens of thousands. Lincoln cents have proven that even the smallest coin can carry the heaviest price tag. Building suspense around 2018, *** movie camera montage of pocket change, 2018 pennies, magnifying glass inspections, so why 2018? On the surface, 2018 pennies don't look special. They were mass-produced, over 5 billion coins were struck across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. Most of them? Totally ordinary. Worth just 1 cent, but here's the kicker, among those billions, one single coin was struck with a once-in-a-lifetime minting anomaly, a microscopic yet spectacular error that no one had ever seen before. The details of the strike, the condition of the coin, and the rarity of its existence all combined to make it a unicorn in the world of coin collecting. This penny isn't just rare, it's a legend, movie camera dramatic reenactment of someone paying for groceries, then noticing something odd in their change. Narrator, storytelling mode ***. Picture this, a man in Texas pulls a penny out of his change at a gas station. At first, he thinks nothing of it. Just another Lincoln cent. But something catches his eye. The coin shines differently. The details on Lincoln's profile look crisper, sharper, almost doubled. Out of curiosity, he takes it home, looks at it under a magnifying glass, and his jaw drops that he didn't know it yet, but he had just stumbled upon what experts would later call the Lucky Lincoln, a 2018 cent so perfect, so unique, that it would rewrite coin collecting history. When word spread, collectors went crazy. Coin experts authenticated it, grading it in pristine condition. Then came the auction. Bidders from around the world competed, millionaires, investors, museums, even private collectors who had been waiting their whole lives for a piece like this, and then, the hammer fell. The 2018 Lucky Lincoln sold for an astonishing $6.9 million, that's right, 1 cent turned into almost $7 million. Overnight, This ordinary man went from regular guy to millionaire, thanks to a penny most of us would have tossed in a jar. Movie camera charts showing rising coin values, collectors at coin shows, people checking their change. Today, the market value of this penny still sits at a mind-blowing $6.9 million. It's one of the most expensive modern coins ever sold. But here's the real kicker, there could still be more out there. Experts believe that if one slipped into circulation, others might exist, waiting to be discovered. Imagine finding one in your pocket right now. That's why collectors, and even regular folks, have been combing through their 2018 pennies, hoping to strike gold, or rather, copper-plated zinc. Movie camera close-up of a magnifying glass over a 2018 penny. So what does this mean for you? It means the next time you see a 2018 penny, don't just toss it aside. Grab a magnifying glass, look closely. Check for doubling, unusual strikes, or minting errors. Because your lucky penny could be hiding in plain sight. Wouldn't it be wild if your next Starbucks change made you a millionaire? Outro animation of Lincoln penny transforming into a pile of cash. Asterisk, the 2018 lucky Lincoln penny proves that history is still being written in our pockets and purses. 1 cent, life-changing fortune. Who knows? The next millionaire could be you. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button, subscribe for more rare coin discoveries, and drop a comment below. Have you ever found a strange penny in your change? Your story might just be the next big discovery we talk about here. Until next time, keep hunting, keep checking your change, and remember, sometimes the smallest treasures bring the biggest rewards. Imagine walking down the street, grabbing a coffee, reaching into your pocket for some change, and suddenly realizing that one of those simple brown pennies could make you a multimillionaire. Yes, you heard that right. A single, ordinary-looking penny, the kind most of us toss into jars, car cup holders, or leave on the sidewalk, could change your life forever. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most shocking stories in American coin collecting, the legendary 1995 Lincoln penny, a coin that has been discovered in circulation, a coin that looks just like any other copper piece of pocket change, yet it carries a jaw-dropping market value of $6.6 million. That's right. One penny, $6.6 million. So grab your wallets, check your piggy banks, dig into that old coffee can of coins in your kitchen, because after this video, you'll never look at spare change the same way again. Let's start at the beginning. The Lincoln penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, has been in production since 1909. It was introduced to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, the man who led the United States through its greatest moral and political crisis. For more than a century, the Lincoln penny has been one of the most recognizable and heavily circulated coins in American history. By 1995, the penny had already undergone a number of design changes. But nothing seemed unusual about that year's run. Billions of pennies were minted in 1995. To the average person, every single one of them looked exactly the same, the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, but hidden among those billions of coins were a handful of extraordinary errors. Errors so rare, so unique, and so astonishingly valuable, that they have become the stuff of legend in the numismatic world. The most famous of these is the 1995 double-die penny. Now, what exactly is a double-die penny? In coin minting, each die, the engraved piece of metal used to strike coins, must be perfectly engraved. If an error occurs during the hubbing process, where the die is impressed more than once but in slightly different positions, it creates what collectors call a double die. When coins are struck with such a die, the result is a distinct doubling in the design. On the 1995 double-die penny, the doubling is most visible in the inscriptions on the obverse side, that's the front of the coin. Look closely at the words, Liberty, and, In God We Trust, and you will see bold, unmistakable doubling. To a coin collector, that doubling is like a neon sign screaming, rare, valuable, extraordinary. Most people in 1995 had no idea that such an error existed. These coins slipped quietly into circulation, handed out as change at grocery stores, laundromats, and gas stations. For years, people spent them as ordinary pennies, not realizing they had just given away a fortune. Fast forward to today, the numismatic market, that's the market for rare and collectible coins, has exploded in value. Collectors are constantly on the hunt for pieces that are not only rare but also historically significant. The 1995 double die penny checks both boxes. And in recent years, auction houses have seen bidding wars break out over pristine, high-grade examples of this coin. The record? An astonishing $6.6 million for a single 1995 double die Lincoln cent, sold at auction to a private collector. Yes. $6.6 million for a penny. That makes it one of the most valuable era coins in existence, and it puts it on par with legendary rarities like the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle and the 1913 Liberty Nickel. Now, let's put this into perspective. Think about how many pennies you've handled in your lifetime. Thousands. Tens of thousands. Maybe even hundreds of thousands. Most of us ignore pennies. We leave them on the ground, we refuse to pick them up, we dump them into jars, we let them pile up until they're practically worthless in terms of purchasing power. But somewhere out there, right now, sitting in circulation, there could be a penny worth millions. A penny that could buy you a mansion, a sports car, or completely change your financial destiny, and that is what makes the 1995 penny so incredible. Unlike coins that are locked away in museums, or those ultra-rare pieces only minted in single digits, the 1995 double-die Lincoln penny is a coin that has been found in pocket change. Ordinary people have discovered them. Ordinary people have become wealthy overnight because of them. So, how can you tell if you've got one? First, check the date, 1995. Second, look closely at the word Liberty. If you see strong, bold doubling, not a shadow, not where, but clear doubled letters, you may have something extraordinary. Third, check, In God We Trust, across the top of the coin. On the double die version, the doubling is sharp, visible, and unmistakable. If you find these markers, don't spend that penny. Don't drop it in a vending machine. Don't give it to a cashier. That little coin could be your ticket to riches. But wait, you might be wondering, why are collectors willing to pay millions for a penny? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and demand. There are only a limited number of known 1995 double die cents in existence. And while many have been discovered, the finest examples, the ones in nearly perfect, uncirculated condition, graded by professional coin grading services, command the highest prices. Collectors are not just buying a coin, they're buying history, rarity, and prestige. For them, owning a $6 million penny is like owning a piece of American treasure. It's the thrill of having something no one else has, a prize that cements their place in numismatic history. And here's the most exciting part, they are still out there. Millions of pennies are still in circulation across the United States. Every day, banks roll out coins, businesses give change, and people trade pennies without giving them a second thought. Somewhere in that endless flow of copper-plated zinc cents could be the next $1 million discovery, which means the next person to stumble upon one could be you. So, the next time you empty your pockets at the end of the day, don't ignore those pennies. Check the date. Inspect the lettering. Pay attention to every detail. Because that 1 cent might not just be worth 1 cent. It might be worth $6.6 million. A penny that makes you rich overnight. That's not just a coin. That's a life-changing discovery, and with that, I'll leave you with this. Abraham Lincoln once said, "The best way to predict your future is to create it." Maybe, just maybe, your future is sitting in a handful of spare change, waiting to be discovered. So keep looking. Keep searching. And who knows? The next time you hold a penny, you might be holding a fortune. That's the story of the 1995 Lincoln penny, the coin that turned pocket change into a multi-million-dollar jackpot. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible coin stories, and don't forget to check your pennies tonight. You're a millionaire. Have you ever imagined that a simple penny, one little copper-colored coin that you barely notice in your pocket change, could turn you into a millionaire overnight? Yes, you heard that right. Today we are diving into the incredible, unbelievable story of a 1990 Lincoln penny. Not just any penny. A so-called ordinary coin that, against all odds, has shattered every expectation and reached a jaw-dropping value of $8.5 million in the collector's market. This is not just a story about money. This is a story about luck, about history, about hidden treasures hiding right under our noses, and about the sheer magic of how something so common can suddenly become the rarest, most desired item in the numismatic world. So grab your coins, because by the end of this video, you'll be turning over every penny in your jar, your drawer, and your piggy bank, hoping that maybe, just maybe, you are sitting on a life-changing fortune. Let's go back in time for a moment. The year is 1990. Gasoline was cheap. The Berlin Wall had just fallen. The world was shifting into a brand new era. And in the United States Mint, millions upon millions of Lincoln pennies were rolling off the presses, looking identical, each one stamped with the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln. Nobody thought twice. After all, a penny was just a penny, but here's the twist. Hidden among these ordinary coins, a few anomalies slipped through. Call them errors, call them miracles, call them flukes of fate. Whatever the name, these pennies did not match the rest. Some had subtle differences in design. Some had misstrikes. And one particular version of the 1990 Lincoln penny would later become the holy grail of modern coin collectors. Why? Because while most pennies from 1990 are worth exactly 1 cent, this one coin, this one unbelievable survivor of the minting process, has been authenticated, confirmed, and valued at an astronomical $8.5 million. Now pause for a second. Think about that. A single cent, something you wouldn't even bother bending down to pick up from a dirty sidewalk. Something you might toss into a wishing fountain without hesitation. Something children trade away in gumball machines. And yet, one of these coins has reached a price higher than luxury cars, higher than most mansions, higher than what some lottery winners take home. But what makes it so special? Well, let's dig in. The 1990 penny in question is tied to a unique minting error. Unlike ordinary coins, this one was struck with a missing mint mark. That's right. When you look closely at the space under the date, you'll notice there's no little letter. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Nothing at all. Just a clean surface, as if the mint forgot to sign its work, and that tiny detail, that microscopic difference, is what launched this coin from worthless pocket change to the stratosphere of collectible treasures. Collectors call it the no mint mark 1990 penny. And while thousands of pennies are produced every day, very few like this one exist. In fact, only a handful are known to be in circulation, making it one of the rarest coins of its kind. Now combine that rarity with collector demand, and what do you get? A feeding frenzy. Auctions went wild. Bidding wars erupted. And before long, the coin's value skyrocketed. Today, a pristine example has been appraised at an unbelievable $8.5 million. That's right. A coin that once bought a stick of gum is now worth more than the lifetime savings of most people. Imagine finding that in your change. Picture this. You're in line at a grocery store. You pay in cash. The cashier hands you back a few coins. You shove them into your pocket without thinking. Later, you're emptying your pockets and you notice the penny looks just a little different. You hold it up to the light, compare it to another penny, and there it is. No mint mark. That's when you realize, you might be holding $8.5 million in your hand. That is what makes this story so incredible. It's not like winning the lottery where the odds are stacked against you in billions. This is real money sitting in real circulation, waiting to be found. It's like treasure hunting without the shovel. Like panning for gold, except the gold might be in your pocket change already, and that's why coin collectors, treasure hunters, and ordinary dreamers are all obsessed with stories like this. Because it fuels the fantasy that wealth, luck, and fortune aren't always locked behind vaults or stock markets. Sometimes, they're jingling in your pocket, disguised as everyday coins. But let's break down the market side. You might wonder, how does a penny even get valued so high? The answer lies in the art of numismatics, the study and collection of coins. Collectors crave rarity, perfection, and history. The rarer the coin, the higher the price. And when you add in an error like a missing mint mark, the rarity multiplies. Now let's add one more ingredient. Condition. The 1990 no mint mark penny that made headlines wasn't just rare. It was in almost flawless condition. Nearly uncirculated. That means the surfaces were sharp, the shine was still glowing, and every detail of Lincoln's face and the date was crisp. Put all of these factors together, rarity, error, condition, and demand, and you end up with a value that seems impossible. But in the collector's world, it's very real, and here's where things get even more exciting: there could still be more of these pennies out there. Sitting unnoticed in circulation. Hiding in a jar of change. Sitting quietly at the bottom of an old drawer. Maybe mixed into a pile of coins at your grandmother's house. Maybe even in your wallet right now. Think about it. Every single day, millions of pennies exchange hands. We use them, we ignore them, we toss them into coin jars. But what if one of those pennies is the one? What if you are just one glance away from becoming a millionaire overnight? That is why coin hunters obsess over details. That's why people check their change with magnifying glasses. That's why numismatics is more than a hobby, it's a hunt. Now, before you get too excited, let's be real for a moment. Not every penny without a mint mark is worth millions. Many are just normal coins. But the specific 1990-era penny, the verified, authenticated one, is the jackpot. And while the chances are small, they're not zero. And that's what makes the dream so powerful, because unlike winning the lottery, where you need luck alone, here you need attention. You need awareness. You need the habit of checking your change, of noticing details, of valuing what most people overlook. It's a reminder that wealth isn't always about hard work, connections, or chance. Sometimes it's about seeing what others ignore, so the next time you see a penny on the ground, don't walk past it. Pick it up. Look closely. Check the date. Check for the mint mark. Who knows, maybe that simple coin will rewrite your entire life story. After all, history has already proven it's possible. One lucky penny from 1990 has already turned heads, sparked dreams, and built legends. And maybe, just maybe, the next one is waiting for you. So here's my challenge to you. Tonight, grab your jar of coins. Dig through your change. Shine a flashlight on every penny you find. Look for that missing mint mark under the 1990 date. And if you find it, you might just be holding the key to $8.5 million. That's not just luck. That's destiny disguised as pocket change. Welcome back to another exciting video where today we are diving deep into one of the wildest stories in coin collecting history. Imagine walking into a store, buying a soda, getting a handful of change, and suddenly discovering that one tiny copper penny hiding in your palm is worth a staggering $8.8 million. Yes, you heard me right. A coin worth less than a gumball that could instantly make you a millionaire overnight. Today we are talking about the mysterious, rare, and incredibly valuable 1983 Lincoln penny that has shocked collectors, made headlines, and continues to circulate in the pockets of unsuspecting people around the world. Now before you roll your eyes and say come on, it's just a penny, let's remember something important. Pennies in the United States are not all made equally. Over the years, the U.S. Mint has changed designs, shifted metals, and created a number of unusual mistakes that collectors go absolutely crazy over. Sometimes a printing error, sometimes a wrong metal planchet, sometimes an oddity nobody even notices until decades later. And when these accidents happen, coins can skyrocket in value because of their rarity. That is exactly the case with the 1983 Lincoln penny, a coin that on the surface looks just like every other penny in your pocket, but in reality could be hiding a multi-million-dollar secret. So let's set the stage. In 1982, the United States Mint officially switched the penny's composition from 95% copper to copper-plated zinc. That means if you find pennies before 1982, most of them are heavier and made almost entirely of copper. But in 1983, all pennies were supposed to be made with the new copper-plated zinc planchets. However, as with many big transitions, a few mistakes slipped through. Some pennies were accidentally struck using leftover copper planchets from the previous year. And that is where the magic happens. One of these error coins, the 1983 copper penny, was discovered and immediately shook the numismatic world. We are not just talking about a small increase in value here. We are talking about life-changing money. One example of this rare penny surfaced at an auction and sold for an unbelievable $8.8 million. Imagine flipping over your couch cushions, finding a penny wedged in the corner, and realizing it is worth more than a mansion, a yacht, and a Ferrari combined. That is the reality with this coin. So what makes it so valuable? The rarity. You have billions of ordinary 1983 pennies out there, most worth just 1 cent. But the error versions that were mistakenly struck in copper instead of zinc are so rare that only a handful have been authenticated. Collectors will pay extreme amounts of money for them because they represent a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own a historic minting error that technically should not even exist. When something is that scarce and that famous, the price tag goes through the roof. Now let's get into the details, because if you are watching this right now, you might be wondering if one of these pennies is sitting in your coin jar, in your dresser, or maybe even hiding in your wallet at this very moment. The first thing to do is check the date. It has to say 1983. Then check the mint mark under the date. These coins can exist with no mint mark, meaning they were made in Philadelphia, or with a small d, meaning Denver. Both versions are valuable, but collectors argue that the Denver minted versions are slightly rarer. But the biggest clue is weight. If you put the penny on a scale and it comes in at around 2.5 grams, that means it is made of zinc and it is not special. But if it weighs about 3.1 grams, that means it was struck in copper, and you might just be holding one of the most expensive pennies on earth. Now here is where the story gets even crazier. People all across the country are still checking their change every single day, hoping to stumble upon one of these coins. And why not? They are still technically out there. Every time a coin rolls through a vending machine, a cash register, a coin star machine, or passes from hand to hand, there is always the possibility that someone unknowingly spends one of these ultra-rare pennies. And if you are lucky enough to find it, your life could change instantly. Think about it. A penny that costs 1 cent to spend. A coin you could drop in a parking lot and never look back at. A coin so ordinary that millions of people would never bother to check it. And yet, it is worth more than gold, more than diamonds, more than almost anything you could fit in your pocket. That is why coin collectors call it the ultimate lucky penny. So what happens if you find one? The first step is not to run to the bank or spend it. Do not clean it, do not scratch it, do not try to make it shiny. Cleaning a rare coin can actually reduce its value significantly. Instead, you want to carefully store it in a safe place and have it professionally authenticated by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations will examine the coin, confirm its authenticity, grade its condition, and certify it for collectors. That little piece of paper, that certification, is what takes your coin from being just a lucky discovery to being a verifiable multi-million-dollar treasure. Now let's talk about the market. Why does this coin sell for $8.8 million? The answer comes down to 3 things: rarity, demand, and history. First, the rarity. Only a handful of these pennies exist. Second, the demand. Coin collectors, especially those who chase minting errors, are willing to pay top dollar for legendary finds. And third, history. The 1983 copper penny represents a transitional moment in U.S. coinage, when the nation shifted away from copper because of rising metal costs. That makes it more than just a coin, it is a piece of history. Put all those factors together and you have a recipe for one of the most valuable coins ever struck. But here is the part one love the most. This story is not just about millionaires bidding at fancy auctions. It is about regular everyday people. A school kid who checks his lunch money, a cashier who sorts through their till at the end of a shift, a grandfather who digs out his old coin collection, even a person rolling coins to deposit at the bank. Any one of them could stumble across this miracle penny without even realizing what they are holding. That is why this story captures the imagination. Because the possibility is real. The chance is small, but it exists. You could become rich overnight from a single coin worth 1 cent. So the next time you get change back at the grocery store, do not ignore those pennies. Check the date. Feel the weight. Pay attention. Because the difference between an ordinary penny and a multi-million-dollar treasure could be sitting right there in your hand. One moment it is pocket change, the next moment it is life-changing. That is the magic of the 1983 Lincoln penny, and here is a final thought. Many people think all the rare coins are already discovered, that everything valuable has already been found. But history shows us that discoveries are still being made today. Coins are still hiding in circulation, tucked away in jars, buried in drawers, sitting quietly in collections that have not been touched in decades. And until every last one is found, there will always be that tiny chance that the next person to find one is you. So do not underestimate the penny. It may be small, it may seem worthless, but sometimes the smallest things carry the biggest surprises. And in the case of the 1983 copper penny, the surprise could be worth $8.8 million. Imagine digging through your pocket change, maybe after grabbing a coffee or paying for gas, and pulling out what looks like an ordinary penny. A simple brown coin, scratched, maybe even a little dirty. Now imagine finding out that this very same penny could make you an overnight millionaire. That's right. Today we're talking about the legendary 1981 Lincoln penny, a coin still in circulation, that carries a shocking market value of over $4.8 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $4.8 million for one penny. So grab your coin jars, empty your wallets, and check under the couch cushions, because what I'm about to share could literally change your life forever. The 1981 Lincoln penny might not look special at first glance. After all, more than 12 billion of these coins were minted that year. They feature the classic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Most people use them without giving a second thought. But hidden within that massive batch of ordinary coins are a few rare and extraordinary varieties that collectors go absolutely crazy for. Some of these pennies, when authenticated, have sold for jaw-dropping prices. And in one particular case, a 1981 penny has been valued at a staggering $4.8 million in the collector's market. Now, you might be asking yourself, how can a penny, literally worth 1 cent, become worth millions? The answer comes down to a mix of rarity, minting errors, condition, and collector demand. Back in 1981, the U.S. Mint was in transition. In 1982, they would switch the penny from mostly copper to a cheaper zinc composition. That means 1981 was one of the last years where pennies were struck from 95% copper and 5% zinc. Today, even the metal inside those coins is worth more than face value, but the real money isn't in the copper, it's in the mistakes. Minting errors, double dies, off-center strikes, and unique variations are what collectors dream about. For the 1981 penny, certain error types are unbelievably rare. And when a coin is not just rare, but also in flawless, almost uncirculated condition, its value can skyrocket into the millions. The $4.8 million penny story, ***, let me paint the picture. A man in the Midwest was sifting through his change, something he did as a small hobby. Among the nickels, dimes, and quarters, he noticed a slightly unusual penny. The coin looked sharper, heavier, and almost had a different tone compared to the others. He decided to send it off for grading and authentication. What came back shocked him and the entire coin-collecting world. The penny he had found turned out to be a rare 1981 transition error with a nearly flawless strike, preserved as if it had just left the mint. Because of its unique qualities and extreme rarity, it was given a record-breaking valuation of $4.8 million. Overnight, this man's life changed. From average working class to millionaire, all thanks to a single penny that everyone else would have overlooked. ***. What makes it unique? ***. Collectors and experts identified a few things that made this particular coin stand out. ***. Transitional composition error. While most 1981 pennies were struck in copper, this coin may have been struck with experimental or leftover planchets intended for the upcoming 1982 zinc-based pennies. Transitional errors are extremely rare and highly collectible. ***. Die varieties. certain 1981 pennies show double die errors, where parts of the lettering or numbers appear doubled due to mistakes during the minting process. These can be worth thousands, but in perfect condition, the value multiplies drastically. Condition: the coin was practically flawless, with its luster and strike preserved to an exceptional level. Collectors will pay insane amounts for coins in mint state or proof-like conditions. How to spot one. So, how can you tell if you're holding on to a potential millionaire penny? Here's what to look for when you examine your 1981 Lincoln cents. 1. Check the date. Obviously, it has to be from 1981. Both the Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D mint mark, versions exist. 2. Look for doubling. Carefully inspect the date, the word Liberty, and In God We Trust. Any visible doubling could indicate a rare variety. 3. Examine the reverse. On the Lincoln Memorial, check for extra lines, doubling, or distortions. 4. Check the weight. Copper pennies from 1981 should weigh about 3.11 grams, while zinc ones are about 2.5 grams. Any unusual weight could point to a transition error. 5. Condition: coins that are crisp, shiny, and free from scratches or heavy wear have the highest chance of being valuable. Other valuable pennies, and don't think 1981 is the only year with hidden treasures. There are many pennies out there worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands, of dollars. The 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die penny, the 1969 double die, and the 1972 double die are just some examples. If you're into hunting for treasure in your pocket change, pennies are the perfect place to start. Why you should check your change. Think about it. Every single day, millions of pennies exchange hands in shops, banks, and vending machines. Most people never take a second to glance at the date or condition. That means the odds of a rare gem slipping into circulation are higher than you might think, and the best part? It costs you nothing to look. That handful of pennies at the bottom of your drawer could be hiding a multi-million-dollar surprise. Final words. The takeaway. The story of the 1981 Lincoln penny worth $4.8 million is a reminder that incredible treasures can be hiding in the most ordinary places. One small coin, just a single cent, had the power to transform someone's entire life. So the next time you get change back from the store, don't just toss it into a jar. Take a moment. Look closely. Who knows? That ordinary penny in your hand could be the key to financial freedom. Remember, it's not just spare change. It could be life-changing. Call to action. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe for more stories about rare coins and hidden treasures, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. And before you go, drop a comment below and let me know, have you ever found a rare or unusual coin in your change? Who knows, your story could be the next viral treasure hunt. Thanks for watching, and good luck checking your change. Your millionaire penny might be closer than you think. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating and life-changing discoveries that could be sitting right in your pocket right now. We are talking about a coin so ordinary at first glance that most people would spend it without a second thought. Yet if you happen to stumble across the right version of this coin, you could be holding on to a fortune that could change your life forever. We are talking about the legendary 1972 Lincoln penny, and how one particular variety of this coin has shocked the collecting world by reaching a staggering value of $4.4 million. That is right, a single penny, a coin worth just 1 cent in everyday spending money that could make you an overnight millionaire. Now, before you rush to check your change, let's talk about the background of this incredible coin. The Lincoln cent, also called the Lincoln penny, has been a staple of American currency for more than a century. Designed in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, it replaced the Indian head cent and became one of the most popular and most widely collected coins in history. By the year 1972, billions of these pennies had already been minted, but that year something unusual happened, something that would later create one of the rarest and most valuable error coins ever known. You see, in 1972 the United States Mint in Philadelphia produced more than 2.9 billion Lincoln cents. That is a staggering number of coins, and most of Them look exactly the same, copper pennies featuring the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, but among this sea of ordinary coins a very small number were struck with what is known as a double die obverse. This is a type of minting error that occurs when the coin die, which is the piece of metal used to stamp the design onto blank coins, is misaligned during the manufacturing process. When this happens, the design is impressed twice at slightly different angles, which creates a dramatic doubling effect on the lettering and details of the coin. On the 1972 double die penny, the doubling is most noticeable on the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," as well as the date itself, 1972. Collectors who know what to look for can spot this doubling with the naked eye, and it is not a subtle mistake. It jumps out at you. The letters look thicker, they almost look blurry, as if they are shadowed, and this dramatic visual error has made the coin one of the most iconic double dies in the entire Lincoln Cent series. Now here is where things get really exciting, because while there are several varieties of double die pennies from different years, the 1972 double die is one of the most sought after, and one example in pristine uncirculated condition with brilliant red luster was recently valued at an unbelievable $4.4 million. Think about that for a second, $4.4 million for a penny, a coin that cost 1 cent to produce, and one that could still be sitting in someone's old coin jar, dresser drawer, or even circulating quietly in pocket change. Imagine you go to the store, buy a coffee, and get a handful of change back. You look down at the coins and you see an old-looking penny from 1972. At first you think it is just another worn-out coin, but then you look closer. Maybe you notice that the word "Liberty" looks strange, maybe the date looks doubled, and you realize you are holding the famous double die penny in your hands. Just like that, your life has changed forever, because that little coin could be worth more than the house you live in, more than most people make in a lifetime. In fact, it could be worth millions, and all because you took a moment to pay attention to your pocket change. So how can you tell if you have one of these rare and valuable 1972 pennies? Well, first look at the front of the coin, the obverse as collectors call it. Focus on the word "Liberty," which is to the left of Lincoln's portrait on the double die version. Each letter in Liberty shows clear and obvious doubling. It almost looks like a shadow running alongside the letters. Next, check the motto "In God We Trust" across the top of the coin. Here too the letters show that same doubled effect with thick overlapping impressions. Finally, look at the date, 1972, on the real double die. The numbers, especially the 1 and the 9, will have heavy doubling. If you see all three of these signs, you may have hit the jackpot. Of course, not every 1972 penny is worth millions. In fact, the vast majority are only worth face value 1 cent, but that is the beauty of coin collecting. It is a treasure hunt. The valuable ones are out there hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone to notice them and bring them into the spotlight. Some examples of the 1972 double die have sold for hundreds of dollars, others for thousands, and the finest known examples, with flawless surfaces and blazing red color, are the ones that have crossed into the millions, culminating with that record-setting $4.4 million valuation that has stunned the hobby and captured the imagination of collectors everywhere. Think about what this means. It means that right now, as you listen to this, your spare change, your coin jar, the cup holder in your car could be holding a ticket to a new life. It means that the difference between an ordinary penny and a life-changing fortune is simply knowledge and awareness. If you know what to look for, if you take the time to examine your coins carefully, you could be the next person to find one of these incredible treasures. And this is not just a fantasy. People all over the world have stories of finding rare coins in everyday circulation. A man in Massachusetts once discovered a valuable double die penny in his loose change from a vending machine. Another collector spotted one in a handful of coins he received as change at a gas station. They had no idea that such wealth was passing through their hands until they took a closer look and realized what they were holding. The lesson here is simple: never underestimate the power of a penny. Never assume that just because a coin is old or worn that it is worthless. Some of the greatest fortunes in numismatics, the study and collecting of coins, have been made from the smallest and most overlooked pieces of money. The 1972 double die penny is a shining example of this truth. So the next time you empty your pockets or count the change at the bottom of your purse or wallet, take a moment to look at those pennies, especially the ones from 1972, because if you are lucky enough to find that double die, you could join the exclusive club of people who struck it rich overnight from a simple coin worth 1 cent but valued by collectors at more than $4 million. And with that, I encourage you to start checking your change. Start looking through those old coin jars in your home. Ask your parents and grandparents if they have pennies saved from years gone by. You never know where a treasure could be hiding. Remember, history is in your hands, and sometimes history pays off in the most incredible way. Thank you for watching. Keep hunting, keep believing, and who knows, maybe the next story of an overnight millionaire penny finder will be yours. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving into one of the most unbelievable stories in the entire world of coins and currency. Imagine this: you're going through your pocket change, maybe you just came back from buying groceries, maybe you stopped for coffee, you drop the loose coins on the table, and in between the usual dimes, nickels, and quarters you notice a penny. It looks ordinary, it looks like the same small copper coin that has been floating around for generations, but what if I told you that single penny could change your life forever? What if I told you that the penny you just found could be worth not hundreds, not thousands, but millions of dollars? That's right, today we are talking about the lucky Lincoln penny from 1979, a coin that has stunned collectors, shocked experts, and currently carries a jaw-dropping market value of $8.4 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single 1979 penny is estimated at $8,400,000. So how did this tiny coin, this little piece of copper and zinc, become one of the most valuable pieces of modern American money in circulation? Let's go back for a moment. The Lincoln cent has been around since 1909, designed to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Over the decades it has seen minor changes, from wheat ears on the back, to the Lincoln Memorial, and eventually the shield design we see today. Millions upon millions of these coins were produced every year, which makes them one of the most common coins in circulation. If you look inside a drawer or a jar of loose change right now, chances are you'll find at least one Lincoln penny. But here's the twist: every so often, hidden among those millions of ordinary coins, one extraordinary error or rare variety slips through. And that is where fortunes are made. The 1979 Lincoln penny is an infamous example. To the naked eye it looks like every other cent, but the story behind it has driven collectors absolutely wild. Certain 1979 cents have been identified with striking errors, doubled dies, off-metal strikes, and other unique anomalies that make them far more than just pocket change. While most of us would never give this penny a second glance, seasoned collectors know that even the smallest details can turn an ordinary coin into a treasure. Think about it like this: one misstrike at the mint, one difference in metal composition, one flaw in the die, and suddenly you have a one-of-a-kind coin that people will pay fortunes for. And that is exactly why the 1979 penny has become the subject of headlines claiming it is worth over $8 million. Now let's really imagine what this means. $8.4 million for one penny. That's not just life-changing, that's history-making. We live in a world where people spend their whole lives working, saving, investing, and struggling to reach financial freedom. But in the blink of an eye, with one lucky coin in your hand, your entire destiny could change. We're talking about paying off all debts, buying a dream home, traveling the world, setting up your family for generations to come, all because of a coin you almost gave away for a piece of gum or a cup of coffee. The idea of becoming rich overnight with something as small as a penny captures our imagination because it reminds us that luck and opportunity can appear in the most unexpected places. But before you run to your coin jar and start flipping through every penny you can find, let's break down what makes these coins valuable. The key factors in coin collecting are rarity, condition, demand, and error. The 1979 Lincoln penny is not rare by itself. Billions were minted. But among those billions, a handful have unique errors or minting mistakes that make them extraordinary. Collectors are always on the hunt for double die obverse pennies, where the date or lettering looks slightly doubled, off-center strikes where the design is misaligned, or even transitional errors where a coin was struck on the wrong type of planchet. These mistakes, invisible to most people, are golden opportunities for collectors. Now, you might be wondering, why would anyone pay $8.4 million for a penny? And that's a valid question. The answer lies in the collector market itself. When a coin is unique enough, when it is the only one of its kind or one of only a handful in the world, the value skyrockets. Add in the passion of wealthy collectors competing at auctions, and suddenly the numbers climb into the millions. For them, it's not just about owning a piece of money, it's about owning history, rarity, and bragging rights that few people on earth could ever claim. Think about famous examples. The 1943 copper penny sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 1955 double die penny became legendary. And now, the 1979 penny with its unique characteristics is making headlines with that mind-blowing $8.4 million valuation. It proves that modern coins, even the ones still in circulation today, can hide incredible treasures. So the question becomes, how do you know if you have one? The first step is always to look closely at your change. Don't ignore pennies. Many people toss them aside, thinking they're worthless, but that's the mistake that separates the lucky finder from everyone else. Look for unusual features, doubling in the lettering, strange off-center strikes, unusual colors, or weights. If you suspect you have something, the next step is to have it authenticated by a professional grading service. Companies like PCGS or NGC specialize in certifying rare coins, and their seal of approval can instantly take a coin from pocket change to auction-ready treasure. And let's not forget the emotional side of this. Imagine the story you'll have to tell if you find one. Imagine holding a coin that everyone else thought was worth 1 cent, but you know is worth millions. Imagine walking into an auction, handing over your penny, and walking out a multi-millionaire. It's not just money, it's a fairy tale come to life. At the end of the day, the legend of the 1979 Lincoln penny reminds us of something powerful. Opportunity hides in plain sight. It may be in your wallet, in your drawer, in that dusty jar of change on your dresser. The next time you see a penny, don't dismiss it. Hold it, look at it, and remember the story of the $8.4 million Lincoln cent. Because who knows, your ticket to becoming rich overnight might be sitting right in the palm of your hand. So there you have it. The 1979 penny that could make you a millionaire. $8.4 million for a single coin. Will you be the one to find it? Will you be the person whose life changes forever because of one small, ordinary-looking penny? Only time will tell. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more coin mysteries and rare finds, and share this with a friend. Because you never know, one of you might be holding a fortune right now.